This is much light as I have.
That's okay. Your spirit and your smile are going. Yes. All right, I am sharing. 1 second.
This is much light as I have.
That's okay.
Okay.
Your spirit and your smile. That's it. Okay. Oh, yes. we are live. Hold on. I am. Give me 1 second.
This is much light as I have.
That's okay.
Okay.
Your spirit and your smile. That's it. Okay. Okay. Oh, we are live. Hold on. All right. I'm gonna get ready to share this to Facebook momentarily. There we are. All right. And I need to share to our
And I want to apologize in advance if you see one of my kids running around.
We don't apologize for mothering.
Okay.
Yep.
Indeed.
We are both mothers, and so we don't apologize for that.
Okay.
All right.
Now I want to apologize in advance if you see one of my kids running around.
We don't apologize for mothering.
That is me.
Okay.
All right. So we are live.
It is live, and I'm just
live. We are on all the pages,
honey, and I'm trying to find it. Someone said they cannot hear anything on the YouTube link.
Okay, hold on. That's because I muted it. Let me.
She said, never mind.
Okay.
I am so grateful.
Perfect. Live. We are on all the pages. All right.
Okay.
So you can see Facebook, and I can see YouTube, and we have 7 people in the YouTube, and
okay, and I'm about to share it now.
All right.
On Facebook. Okay.
All right.
Okay. And
all right. You ready?
Yes, I am sharing it. I know to KLEK before I get in trouble and forget. Okay. Awesome. So this is such a great night and such a great opportunity. We want to welcome everyone that is joining in and that will be with us in the replay. Welcome to tonight's discussion on SB71. While we have had the short title of calling it the Affirmative Action Bill, but we will have our senator and representative here who will both expound upon this bill. I am Shunqetta Cunningham, co-facilitator of tonight's discussion. I'm CEO of the Kharis Group and founder of Over a Cup, and I am grateful for the opportunity to share the stage with the beautiful and amazing Ms. Amber Booth-McCoy.
Thank you very much. I am Amber Booth-McCoy. You can call me Amber Nicole. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm your favorite diversity specialist. And I'm your favorite diversity specialist. So I am the CEO of the Diversity Booth, which is an equity, inclusion, and social justice firm located in Central Arkansas. And the other titles don't matter. Just know I will show up any and everywhere that they let me do diversity, equity, and inclusion. As my amazing co-facilitator and sorority sister said, tonight we are discussing Senate Bill 71, also in the short form, calling it the Affirmative Action Bill. It says it is an act to prohibit discrimination or preferential treatment by the state of Arkansas and other public entities and for other purposes. So, to have that conversation, Shunqetta.
Awesome. So who will be joining us tonight? We are so grateful to have Senator Reginald Murdock of District 9, who has consistently and faithfully served this state and who's a well-known advocate voice for Arkansans. And so we are grateful to have your leadership and grateful for you to lend your voice to this conversation on tonight. And we have the beautiful Representative Denise Ennett, who has already hit the ground running, and who is being fierce in all of her greatness and motherhood leadership. And so we are grateful to have you both to add value and context to tonight's discussion.
Absolutely. And before we get into SB71, our first question: what's your favorite cereal to eat?
Ooh. Oh, I like Raisin Bran.
Raisin, okay. Raisin Bran. Okay, I'm a Raisin Bran girl. I can handle that. Senator Murdock, your favorite cereal?
Frosted Flakes, without a doubt.
Okay, Frosted Flakes. So you say you good with breakfast? You just needed to have sugar, right? In the
Yep.
morning time.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's it. For those, Shunqetta, your favorite cereal?
Frosted Flakes.
Oh,
Maybe
okay.
with a little almond crunch, sweet cake. I combine both of mine. I literally do. I combine both of it.
I should have stopped at Reverend. I mean, I should have stopped at Senator Murdock. I should have stopped at Senator Murdock. All right.
It's the best.
Yeah,
So
she doing too much.
right. I should have stopped at. I should have stopped at the senator. So Senator Murdock and Representative Ennett, for those of us who are not in government, can you assist us with understanding what SB71 is? What is it? Why is it important? Tell us what's going on.
Well, what it is, SB71 is Senate Bill 71. It's a bill proposed by a senator who's been duly elected by his district to represent that portion of the state of Arkansas. He is duty bound, I guess, to bring forth legislation that he think makes sense in representing his constituents. Senate Bill 71 specifically starts the process to a thought becoming a law. And in this particular case, and I don't know if you want me to get into the bill or not.
We do.
I mean, that's what it is. And now, so what this bill obviously is a bill that takes away all of the measures that have been put in place throughout the years as it relates to leveling the playing field and giving minorities, women, excuse me.
Minorities, women, and like.
Oh, okay, and others a chance to be at the table. And this far-reaching piece of legislation, it started out as a 3-pager. He did an amendment that was 9 pages. The 9-page amendment is a scathing attack, in my view, on the opportunity that any of us have, any minority have to ever become, to get treated fairly in any area, from hiring to boards, commissions, to anything that you could name. He's touching with this legislation, and it's a very, very dangerous piece of legislation that we must fight back as vigorously as possible. You know the numbers in the legislature. Obviously, we don't have numbers in the legislature to defeat it in the committees or on the floor. But what we do have is our voice, and what you can help us with is your voice, helping our voice be as loud as possible. And let me commend you in what you're doing and what others that have contacted me are doing to try to stand up, speak out where we can, and let's let our voices be heard, because this is a piece of legislation that, in my view, and many others, will take us way back many, many years in our past.
Thank you. And I just
also
go ahead, Representative.
Also, too, this bill will repeal the state law requiring all state-supported colleges and universities to establish a program for retention for Black and Brown students as well. So that's another part of it.
Thank you.
Absolutely, touches it all.
if I can go back, you said that it was going to, if you will, repeal the measures that are in place for protection at the moment. And so, specifically, I'm asking about those protections. The ones that I'm seeing listed here that are named is race, sex, color, ethnicity, national origin. Where is this? Veteran, disabilities. Are those the protections that you're talking about when you say that it will repeal protections for those groups?
Absolutely. The only one it does not mention is gender, but every one of those groups are a protected group. And of course, this legislation probably will not stand up to the Constitution because of those things that you just mentioned, those protections that are now a part of our being. But also federally, there are some federal protections that come down that we must adhere to on the state level as we hire, as we distribute monies, dollars to various groups. So there is some complicity in this legislation. So I don't know that it lasts, but the question is, and the problem is that it's even presented. And as you just mentioned, it X's out all of those things that Representative Ennett just mentioned that are listed in the bill.
Thank you, Senator. Senator, I have a question. So for those that are tuned in and want to understand about the reading process of bills in committee, would you take us through that process? Because one of the concerns was adding this amendment on and pushing this through, and you all have a process to which you have time to vet, to read in your committee review process. So would you share and help us understand that more?
Yes, so there's a proper way to do it, and the Senate and the House, the two individual bodies that both must pass a piece of legislation before it goes to the desk of the governor. So the process is to file a bill, and if there's an amendment, that amendment comes to the committee, and if it comes to the committee then adds the amendment, passes or do not pass the amendment, depending on what it is. What happened in this case is there was a 3-page bill. Then after it went through committee, my understanding is there came this 9-page.
It's 12
amendment.
now. It's 12 pages.
So now, yeah, right. So now it's a 12-pager. And when it got ready to come to the floor, we held it up at the floor because of the many complications in it, and he agreed to pull it down for a short period of time to discuss with us the many issues we have with it. So hopefully that will make it go away, but we'll see. And we're also putting pressure on outside entities as well to make them say, hey, you see this legislation, you see what it does and the damage. But anyway, to answer your question, so the bill is brought up in committee, and then it's passed or fails in the committee. Once it comes from committee, it goes to the floor of each individual house. This bill originated in the Senate, SB71. Once it goes through the committee, then it'll go to the floor of the Senate. If it passes the floor of the Senate, it goes to the House. It goes to a House committee first. It passes the House committee, then it goes to the House floor. If it passes the bill passes on the House floor, then it goes to the governor's desk. But now, inside of those two committees, there can always be amendments that are added to the bill. And sometimes that's sponsorship, sometimes that's other critical ingredients to a bill. So that's kind of how a bill moves through both chambers. If it originates in the Senate, it has to end up at the House end. If it starts in the House, it has to end up in the Senate end before it can become law.
Okay. I feel like my 6th grade civics teacher would be so proud right now that I retained this information.
Thank you.
Yes. So I have a question, and this is for either of you amazing legislators. The question is, the bill was brought forth by Senator Dan Sullivan and Representative Marcus Richmond, and you've kind of spoken to repealing protections, if you will, but the reason that they are stating that they're bringing it forth is in order to place everyone on equal footing, and that, currently that's not what's happening because we have preferential treatment, or as we were calling them, protected classes. So I guess, is that it? What will that impact be, right? If you're saying that we already have them, and they're saying they're bringing this forth because we are not treating people equally, What is the impact of this bill if passed?
Well, that's the my question is your question. I mean, my question to them are going to be, how does your title even make sense? Because in your title, there's a presumption or an assumption that the field is level, that we have gotten to the point of equal opportunity, and we know we have not even gotten close to that. Even the goals in the state of Arkansas now, we don't have mandates. Right. We have goals.
Recommendations.
Inside of our goals, we never even reach those. If you look at our minority contracts and participation in some areas, we're not at 2%. So we're not even getting close. And for them to say that the day has come that we need to eliminate all of these statutory opportunities so that we can have a chance to be at the table, we can be on the boards and commissions, we can be in certain rooms at certain times. It's ludicrous to me that they can even suggest that it's time for this legislation.
Senator, is there even any supporting data that has come along with this bill that has stated that now is the time? We're at the space in our state for this equal footing, affirmative action, quote, or preferential treatment for all. Are we at this space in our state?
I haven't seen it. I mean, I'm sorry. I mean, I have not seen the data that says anything. I think I've seen the opposite. Every year, I've been in the legislature for 12 years now, and every year we have talked about participation and the levels of participation and how we do not meet the mark in terms of the state of Arkansas for inclusion. And what this does is because this reaches, if you look at that total bill, this reaches into everything. And then it also makes it a crime.
Yes.
It makes it a crime if a state department or someone under the auspices of the government, if they try to enact something based upon the fairness principle. The fairness principle. So it is very, very egregious. And it's without question one of the most scathing piece of legislation I've seen since I've been here.
Thank you.
Yeah, I believe it's a Class A misdemeanor.
It is.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. And so I had questions about the criminalization of this. So because currently, and I wanted to know the Class A misdemeanor was in the original bill, right? It was if you discriminated based on race and gender and ethnicity and national origin, things of that nature, right? So with us removing those protections, you're saying that in the event that we have programs like maybe English as a second language learners, like those are specific to demographics and populations, you're saying that providing those services as a state would be a crime?
I'm saying his legislation suggests such. That's
Okay.
what I'm saying.
Okay.
And there is so much vagueness. Let me say this to you as well. So the piece of legislation that we're talking about is not, let me say this the right way. It's very vague. Let me just say that. There's a lot of vagueness to this legislation that leaves lots of room for interpretation, but could also prevent people from doing things because of the cloud that's there. See, sometimes when you put a cloud there and it has not rained, we have a fear that it might what?
Right, that it might rain.
It might rain. So just the cloud prevents us many times from coming outside. So there is lots of things placed here to prevent us from doing what we need to do or others need to do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Both of you all can jump in on this question as well. And so I know that we know that this bill has now garnered a lot of traction amongst various groups because of its potential impact. What specifically is the response of the Black Legislative Caucus?
Okay, Denise, you want to get that or you want me to get it?
You could get it.
Okay. All right. Well, obviously the Legislative Black Caucus, all of us are, we're 10 toes down against this. I mean, we're 100% against this SB71. Nobody sees anything about it that makes us have any excitement or anything besides anguish. So we're all working hard to defeat this, and we're working hard to bring awareness to other people, because it shouldn't, honestly, the state of Arkansas, this shouldn't just be Black folks fighting against this. This represents our state. We should have all, the Chamber of Commerce and others. I met with them and many other entities that call themselves representing our state and nationwide. Do you know how this will make us look if this is passed? I mean, certain things you don't want on your charge. So hopefully the other leaders in other areas and in the majority of firms, if you will, that they will step up. I'm waiting to see that.
Thank you. I mean, you spoke to the other places that this bill hits, if you will. I mean, reading the bill, it specifically spoke to like college admissions, right? So higher education. And that's kind of been a topic just across the political landscape for a while now, right? Affirmative action as it relates to college admissions, but it even deals with us teachers and the recruitment of teachers in places like the Delta, Arkansas Delta, right, where they're needed. And then lastly, it also speaks to businesses. Like you were saying, right now, our Black or woman-owned businesses, it took a while to even get that added, as one of the protections, right? And so it will be removing those. And you're saying that we're currently spending less than 2% with those populations. Is that correct?
Absolutely.
So is there a legislative process? Like, it was in committee and we saw how the first, conversation went, but, the senator did pull it down in order for us to be able to have more conversations about it. But when it goes back, it starts back going through the process. Is there a legislative process that can slow it down, like a filibuster option or us, the constituents galvanizing it and speaking to this? Like, is there anything that you all can do outside of us that would slow it at all?
Well, we don't have a filibuster here, but one thing you can do, I think Senator Murdock mentioned that our numbers are small in both chambers, but your voice is loud. So what you can do is, what committee did that go through? State agencies?
Yes.
So what you can do collectively, you all can get together and go on our website. Is Arkansas, it's ArcLeg, and I put that in the comments.
Okay.
You could click on at the top. It has House, and it has Senate, and you could do you could locate who your representative is. And on that page, you can look at all the bills that come through. You could click on the agenda. You can see who all are on those committees. You could also write those people, send those people emails. You could call them, you could text them and let them know that you are against this bill. So there are different ways that people can use their voice.
And with the
that's a great point. Great point.
I'm saying, with it touching so many industries, we should have lots of voices, right?
So we need women
and
women, and also too, you can also come and testify. I know it's an intimidating process for some people, but you can sign your name on a list. You come to the committee meeting. You can speak against this bill or any other bill, or you can speak for any other bill, that comes through the chambers. That's another way that you all can use your voice at the Capitol, and it can be very instrumental.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I tell the story about when you're dealing with elected officials. The way that you affect them the most is by showing up to those committee meetings. I've seen it happen so many times. People elect people. And when you will show up, whomever is important to, if you make the sacrifice to be at the Capitol when it's going to be in the committee, and you come to that committee, or when it's going to be on the floor, and you line the steps of the Capitol. I've seen various groups do this, and it make a difference. If we line up if we fill up that Capitol with 5,000, 10,000, whatever number of people, because this is really going to affect us. Somebody has to know. You have 6 in the Senate and 18, I think, in the House. Out of 135, you got 24 people. Is all you have, and we're fighting hard and loud. But if we can bring those others, if you can galvanize those others and come to that Capitol, and they see that we won't get tired in our fight, their tired moment will find us a delightful treat.
Okay,
that's what they need to see. They need to see that we ain't gonna get tired. We're gonna stay strong.
I'm gonna have to tell my mama. My mama used to always say when I was growing up that 80% of a job was just showing up. Just even if you don't do nothing when you get there, 80% of the job was showing up. So as constituents and concerned citizens, us just showing up to the process is important with that. So everybody hear that. Everybody on the call, share this video. It's on YouTube, it's on Facebook, so that we know when we're gonna show up.
And also too, you all belong to a sorority, and Senator Murdock belongs to a fraternity. I mean, that's a good way to get your groups together to come to the Capitol. So any civic groups are all welcomed at the Capitol.
And calling the governor's office is an option as well?
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes.
And thank you for sharing that. I think oftentimes people don't hear enough the simplicity of just about showing up, right? And thinking that, okay, if I show up, I need to ensure 500. Yes, that will be wonderful. But if you are showing up and you're telling someone else that you're showing up, and as you stated, simply showing up. Thank you for sharing that.
And there's a protocol to that.
Yes, that was my next question. So please go ahead.
So there's a protocol to that. So what they can do, and what I've seen in committees, they can limit your debate time. So what you want to do, you want to be succinct, to the point. When you're talking to the committee, you want to address the committee chair. You want to be respectful of everybody's time. You want to get your point across. And again, it's intimidating to some, but it's an easy process. Just, state your fact. Don't be overly redundant when you up there, and just state your fact. And I mean, it could be very powerful. So I would like to see people at the Capitol when this bill comes up. So get your people together, come up to the Capitol.
And of course, the Divine Nine, as Representative Ennett mentioned, the Divine Nine should be at the forefront of this for our community, in my opinion. So make sure you hold them accountable. And we all know Divine Nine members. Let's make sure that we hold them accountable to this situation, because it affects us all. It affects us all.
I mean, Shunqetta and I can absolutely see if we can call our soror Madam Vice President and see if she can.
Again. Say that
right. Yes. Madam Vice President and soror. But I seriously, as far as you were talking about like the calling and reaching out to our elected officials, I really love the whole people elect people. That's very true. I think sometimes there's this, we elect them and then maybe we don't think about them again, and so it's time to elect someone new. Like there's a missed process, or us watching what they voted on at times. But you also mentioned being able to
accountability.
Right. And you also mentioned being able to call the governor, right? So let's just say we galvanize 100 people, and the goal is, or 1,000 people to call the governor. It still has to go through those processes that you talked about, right? It still has to go to committee and the floor, and then the committee and the floor. And so what is the governor able to do? Let's say if Madam Governor said, this is not, equitable or fair.
She could veto the bill when it comes to her desk, and then it takes a simple majority to override the veto. So let's just say our governor wants to veto it. She sent it back to us, and then it just take a simple 51 vote for it to be undone.
In both
chambers. And for those of us that are not in government, we've said now super majority and simple majority. Can you give us the specifics on those numbers?
So there's 18 Democrats that are currently in the House, and out of that, I think it's 8 Blacks in our group. And then the Senate, correct me if I'm wrong, Senator, I think it's 6 of y'all over there. and out of the 6, it's 4 Blacks.
Okay. So the go ahead.
So simple majority means as it relates to overriding the veto.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yeah, it's 50 in the House. There's 100 members, so a simple majority is 51. In the Senate, there's 35 members, so a simple majority would be 18. Now, I'm not the threshold for overriding the veto. I guess is yes. I think it may be just a simple majority. I think that's correct.
It is. Yeah.
Yes.
Is that something we see in I mean, you're 12 years in, I think you said, Senator. How many times have you seen a governor, override that with a veto and then it actually not?
Oh, that happened last session.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it just depends on the issue. I've seen it happen. I've seen a governor veto certain legislation and it stands. I've seen them veto it and it gets overridden, and depends on the will of the body. And you got to look at the politics of the day as you strategically try to address these situations, and you look at what we're dealing with. You got to look at the cards that we've been dealt. In this state, we have right now a super majority in terms of ideology and thinking. So what we do out there as we try to affect the decision makers, which now is that super majority, we try to appeal to their sensitivity of what makes sense, what is sensible and civil for all that have to endure their legislation that they are forcing down our throats or passing. And we want them to understand where we are. So there's a strategic way to do that. It's not easy, because it's hard to look someone in the face that is proposing something that's going to really be bad for you, but smile and give them the proper respect so that you can try to get them to change their mind. So it's a very, very tough job that we have to do there to try to change that. It's not an excuse. I'm just giving you some of the details of what we face, and we're not scared of it. That's what we wake up to go and do every day. We're glad that you have elected us to go and do that. But that be it as it said, it's still a great challenge. And whenever you all can come and be a part of the fight, then that helps us be greater soldiers for you on the front line.
Okay. Well, thank you. And Senator Murdock and Representative Ennett, I want to just ask, along with that, organizing, galvanizing people, and standing up. In particular, Senator Dan Sullivan represents my area. I reside in Jonesboro, District 20. And so how important it is not just to hear from people around the state of the various groups and organizations and museums and nonprofits and all of these entities that this bill could impact, but how important is it for senators and representatives to hear from their local base when it comes to these matters?
Very important. Very important.
Yeah. Very important. I mean, sometimes it depends. Like, I've already got a whole bunch of emails about this one bill from my constituents. Sometimes we have bills that come through our chambers. We don't get nobody, calls or emails us or anything. So when we do get those emails, I know for me, it makes me read them and really pay attention to what they're wanting. And if it could sway how I vote on certain things, depending on how my constituents, want me to vote on things. So it's very important for you all to reach out to your elected officials, even if you don't agree with them, ideology, their politics. He is still your person. Mm-hmm. And so he got elected. And so it's very important for you, even if you don't agree with him or his politics, to still email him, call him or whatever, and let him know how you feel about certain things.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm hearing that there's a process, and we know that, and then Shunqetta, we're talking about galvanizing and organizing, and Senator Murdock, you told us that it can be vetoed and go back, so it's not over till it's over, right? So there's lots of legs in this fight, like a relay, if you will. So if let's say prepared, we're hoping for the best, we know that, and preparing for the worst. You've talked about the fact that, of course, it can impact education and business and government and all of those things. What would next steps look like? Like, what are the legal paths to justice, if you will? I mean, because I know you've spoken about the bill being vague, so we don't know essentially all of the ways it could possibly impact or adversely affect, our state. But we do know that this is not a good thing, and that, let's say, if we're preparing for the worst, then what happens after that?
So there are three branches of government, as we all know: the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch. This is the legislative branch that we're acting in now. Once we make something law and it goes out to the people, and then when it's imparted on you individually or collectively, then that's when the judicial branch comes into play. That's because you then can file lawsuits, claims against the state of Arkansas for unfair practices. So now we're in that other level of government, of the three phases of government. And that will be the next process. Someone would have to file something saying that this legislation is constitutionally unfair, is against the Constitution, or not, or just basically not non-constitutional. So therefore, then it'd be voided. We've seen ACLU, we've seen other groups, we've seen individuals do that. So many of our situations that we have now that are positive in this state only came because of lawsuits that were filed against the existing process. Legislative seats, judicial seats, so many things that we have in place now where we have minorities that are able to be a part of the process is only because someone filed a claim against a law that legislators at that particular time put in place. So there is still room. There still will be much to be done even after the legislative process is over. That if we feel that this or any other piece of legislation is not constitutional, is not fair, violates the principles of the Constitution, then there is something we can do in the judicial branch of government. So we're not done.
They know until it's over.
Here, we want to show here a big part of the legislative piece is that you'll be able to show that you did everything that your legislators presented ideas to Senator Sullivan and others that said, you can do this better, you can do this differently. And if they ignore us, that just becomes part of the legal case where you say they had alternatives, but they chose them not.
Wow. Thank you, because it gives me inspiration, I guess. It's not over. It's not over till it's over. There are lots of fights, and you even in the bill it says that a person who believes his or her rights have been impacted under this section may bring civil action in circuit court. Right. So should they go forward, it says that if I feel I've been impacted, I need to bring it forth. I also want to go back to, you were saying, yes, we can call our governor. We can absolutely call the, our other legislators and let them know how we feel. And is it also important for us to call, let's say, Senator Sullivan? Because there are some gaps and there it is ambiguous. And so we don't know this impact. And even ask him the questions that where those gaps are, places where we're not understanding.
Absolutely.
So I don't need to live where Shunqetta lives to be able to contact Senator Sullivan and say, here, these are my questions.
But specifically, let me say that to the young lady that lives there in Jonesboro. You elected him. When I say you plural, you elected him. So he is very much accountable to you because you can. I'm in Lee County. Someone else may be in Pulaski County. We didn't elect him. You did. So if you get a group there in Jonesboro area, in his district, and you galvanize that support, and you demand, and I know Dan is the type of guy that he's going to come, and he'll come in and stand before you all, and you need to make him understand how this affects you all, and hold him accountable for what he has put forth. And you guys in Jonesboro, and I know a lot of people up there, you need to do it. You need to have it where you have held him accountable to you for being your senator and bringing forth such legislation.
Yes, sir. And to speak to add to that, I'm glad you said that, because oftentimes the invitation, people can throw around terms like, well, when you invite senators or you need to say something, again, we know about respect, but is stating the opposition to proposed legislation, is that in any way antagonistic or part of the right and duty of the constituency to bring that to you all as elected officials?
I want it. I want it.
Thank
I
you.
want my
Thank you.
constituency to hold me accountable for everything, every vote that I make, everything that I do. I am their representative. You understand me? It's government by the consent of the governed. So therefore, you elect me, you select me. I need to hear you, and then I need my voice in Little Rock. Don't need to just be what Murdock thinks. It needs to be what those in my district think. So Sullivan, the same thing. Ennett, the same thing. All of us should be held accountable. But many times, as Representative Ennett has mentioned before, people become intimidated by these positions that we hold. You put us here. You pay us. Don't let us intimidate you. We work for you. You are our bosses. So certainly in that district where Senator Sullivan is, hold him accountable. And again, it's my belief, because he won't get elected again, I promise you.
Yeah.
And your vote counts. Your vote counts.
Senator, you got some quotable, tweetable moments here, right? We got
Right.
people elect people, and government by consent of the government. You better come on, okay?
Yeah.
I'm tweeting both of those, later today. So we
Yes.
want to make sure, Shunqetta and I, we've gotten to ask all the questions and such, but to those of you who are viewing, because we have quite a few viewers, if you have questions, whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook Live, let us know. Ask us, send those questions, and we will try to get some of those questions answered by our amazing legislators here. And while you all are thinking of those questions, I guess I want to know your favorite superhero.
Oh man.
I'm letting her go first.
Since you're a friend representative, you want me to pick one for you? You want me to pick
Yes, go ahead. Pick one for me.
We're gonna go with Jean Grey from the X-Men. All right, that she is my favorite of the entire Marvel. No, okay, you hadn't seen the X. Okay,
No.
we're gonna Wonder Woman. She upgraded that plane. She upgraded the plane. It was different in the new movie. So maybe.
Okay, we'll go with Wonder Woman.
Okay, all right. Senator Murdock.
So the Incredible Hulk, because he is such a mild-mannered, everybody knew David Banner.
Yes.
Mild-mannered guy. He didn't bother anyone. He got along with the community. But when you went left and you messed with his people and you took them to another level,
you won't like me when I'm angry.
That's
it.
So Incredible Hulk is my guy.
We know how to snatch it back. Bring it
That's
back.
it. I love it.
Don't start. Then won't be nothing.
Won't be nothing.
Right.
Go ahead and tweet that.
It's like that's it. I love it because it's like he was a scientist and such. Him give you this, right? And then after I'm mad, it's just Hulk punch. Like it's two words. Like no more polysyllabic words. That's it. You get two words. You need to move. But while we're looking at or waiting on those questions, we have just a couple of minutes. Is there anything else that is on your radar that we need to be looking at? We can galvanize about SB71 and such, but what else should we be thinking about and preparing for?
We have the drag bill. What bill number is that? Do you remember, Senator?
No, I
think it's HB.
I try to forget.
Is it HB 43?
I'm familiar with the bill that you are.
That's coming through our chamber, I believe.
Okay.
And then the bathroom bill just passed out of our chamber, so it'll be coming to your chamber soon, Senator.
Right. What? Yeah. What Representative Ennett is mentioning is some of the in my opinion, the unnecessary things that we're having to deal with now. A lot of these things that they're bringing forth, we already have laws in the book as it relates to decency, how you should present yourself in front of the community, in front of children, etc. the laws against indecent exposure. We have all of those things on the books. So these laws are just not even necessary. I'm ready for us to get to talking about the health care, the roads that we ride on every day, the education for our children, jobs for our communities, housing. Those are the things that we need to be there talking about. And that not one bill have we discussed directly talked about any of that yet. We're dealing with this, this I don't know, the satirical type stuff that gets these high headlines, and really I'm just sick of it. I want us to get to the things that matter to the lives and quality of lives of people.
Absolutely.
That's what we need to get to, but that's not where we are now. We're dealing with what she just said, drag queens and all that stuff.
And so go ahead. So we have this education bill that's looming. We don't know what or when that's going to come out, but I'm thinking it's going to come out soon, right, Senator? So that's something to kind of be, keep in your to be aware of. It's going to be an omnibus. Did I say that right? Omnibus bill. We haven't seen it, so we don't know how it looks. So that's going to be a really big bill, and also her tax cuts are going to be big as well.
Okay. Well, I have a question here from the floor, and before I do that, just going back to Senator Murdock, as it relates to even the drag and such, the diversity and inclusion specialist in me needs anybody watching to know that drag queens are performers, right? That is not an identity and such, and that it's very different from individuals who are trans. And you're welcome to come back and talk with your favorite diversity specialist if you are unclear on what that looks like, and we will help you at the diversity booth. Now, from the floor, we have, are there is there strong support for this bill that we should be aware of as far as the SB71? Any lobbying groups or organizations in favor, or should constituents also call the lobbyists and other people that are advocating for the bill, or should we just stick with our elected officials? I think is also what this question is asking.
Well, I mean, everyone, okay. I mean, your legislators should be able to give you certain information specific to the bill, where it is, the timeliness of where it is in the legislative process, their opinion on it or anything. But no, galvanize with all of the community, bring all of the community together, whoever, churches, Divine Nine, grandmama, granddad, everybody need to be a part of this process. So if you're asking about who should be a part of the fight, all of us should be in this fight, not just the legislators.
Right. Many hands make light work.
And
all right, I'm gonna tweet that one.
I stole it from somewhere, so you just have to say that you have to make sure that you quote and let them know that I stole it. Shunqetta, you got one?
Yes. First, I would like to give my appreciation to the questions that are coming in, and just hold that thought. We're going to show you how we're going to get those answered. But just to add another question before we end. And this is a question I really want to highlight. Dr. Sharice Jones-Branch, who actually served on the Women's Commission committee that was convened by our former governor. Her question is there a plan to leverage the recent Arkansas Women's Commission report in challenging this bill? And we know that the context of this bill provided a lot of recommendations for groups that have been marginalized and disadvantaged, and ways for the state to support them. And so either of you, could you add weight to that?
Well, I mean, when you say is there a plan to leverage it, I mean, we can take what the purpose of the commission should be, the Arkansas Women's Commission, what all of that purpose is for. And we could use it as so much information for diffusing what this bill puts forth. So yes, it can be a part of a whole lot of documented commissions and things that have happened in the past to eliminate the lack of inclusion for many people in various ways. So certainly that can be a part of the discussion as a justification for why this SB71 is not good. And so certainly I think we can leverage it in that way for sure.
Love it.
And we need people such as Dr. West, to be a part of that discussion and be a part of that presentation. She's always been a hero in this state. She fight for the rights of men, and she's a friend and a colleague, and we fought fights together. So I know where she stands on this, and so I just think that it's a great thing for people such as her to stand up and be a part of this.
Mm-hmm. And then to that, I already know Dr. Kharis West, that's our beautiful sorority sister. You are absolutely right. And I know that she does great work. And in particular, this was the other and amazing, great Dr. Kharis Jones Branch here in Jonesboro, Arkansas, Dean of the graduate school here at Arkansas State University. But both women are just simple powerhouses that definitely needs to be added to this conversation for sure.
Absolutely.
You are muted, my friend.
All right, so we'll continue having conversations, continue reaching out to our elected officials and bringing everybody to the table. I mean, it's not about necessarily agreeing. It's about being able to hear and make space and hold space for other people's ability to simply experience life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? In order to be able to address the inequities and disparities that we see in our state. So to sum up as well, we need to have some galvanizing efforts. And so Shunqetta, the Representative Ennett and I, we're going to come have a social justice slumber party at your house so that we can plan, since you are wanting to, in your area and the senators in your area. And then if you have enjoyed this conversation and you are wanting to know more about things coming up, you want to be updated on things that are going to the floor, things that are being discussed, and how you can help, you can come back and visit with Shunqetta and I on February 8th at 7:30. So same bad time, same bad channel, whether it's YouTube or Facebook, to have more conversations. You don't want to miss all the conversations that will happen during this session. Before we leave, is there anything from our amazing legislators that you would like to depart to the people watching?
Well, I would like to thank you both for hosting this. It's valuable for the community to hear these things. Again, do not be intimidated to approach us, call us. My number is 501-690-4211. I answer all of my calls. We don't have paid staff like some people think. So I'm very accessible. So, and most people know where I live at. People knock on my door all the time. So call me. We could chat. If you need help trying to figure out who your person is, I can help you figure that out. Like Senator Murdock said, we need to see you all because we are small in numbers. But when we see you all in a group and y'all come out, it does our heart wonders to see y'all come out. So come to the Capitol, please.
It is amazing to see both of you all. I mean, just the representation of amazing Black legislators. Absolutely, to see legislators that my baby gets to see doing this work. So we appreciate you all as well, Senator.
Thank you.
Yes, I just want to echo what Representative Ennett said, and thank you guys for having the leadership, the vision, the courage to put such a forum together. I appreciate you. We need you. As you can see and hear from our presentation, we're in a battle, but we're not scared. We're prepared and we're ready, but we cannot do it without you. Okay. So please understand that the plea is for us to come together. Okay. And we know scripture that says he can take few. He can take few and do much.
That's it.
It don't take, you know about the bread and the fish and you fed the many. So when I walk in that Capitol every day, I know what the numbers are, but my faith says I can overcome mountains with the help of my God. And my God works through people. My people are you. Please help us help you.
I love it. So you're also saying like y'all are Bruce Banner and we get to be your Hulk? Is that kind of what
there you go. Yeah. When I bust out, I need to see you.
Yes. And Senator Murdock, you will always be special, of course, being in Lee County. My husband's also from Mariana, so Thank you.
Davin, my guy.
That's it. Thank you for representing the area that you represent, as he calls himself, a good old country boy. So,
Yeah.
Shunqetta.
I love the McCoy family. That's rooted deep in me. His brother graduated with me, so you know, his daddy, everything. That's a legacy that's just all by itself. Those are my people. I love the McCoy family.
Thank you.
Can I say something real quick?
No. Yes.
Senator Murdock, do you know when they rescheduled the think tank at Philander Smith?
I do not know the rescheduled date. I do not know.
Okay, so Amber, get with me after this call. So Philander Smith is hosting some community think tanks, and I'm sure you will gain something from it. You can add something to the conversation. It's us basically just having a space for people to talk about different issues they're important to them, and how we can get together collectively to find solutions.
I think Representative Allen and Charity, I think, and Smith, I think they are leaders in that, and along with Representative Richardson, chair of the Legislative Black Caucus. So yeah, be looking out for that information, because I think there's another one coming up, and it's a good time for us to come together.
Absolutely. Great. Diversity of thought is important, and great minds don't think alike. So I'm excited to hear about that think tank. Shunqetta, you want to take us out?
Yes, thank you all so much to our gracious audience. We thank you for the participation. We thank you. The chat is amazing.
Yes.
A special shout out to Northeast Arkansas, who is in the building. Thank you so much. And to Senator Murdock, your leadership, your I think enthusiasm. I know enthusiasm for what you do. I am hoping that just propels everyone to get involved. Representative Ennett, thank you for showing up on today. Thank you for your leadership, and as Amber said, for setting that tone and setting the stage for us, to be in these spaces. Thank you for this great conversation. And again, if you want to join us, I know you will, join us next week, February 8th. We will be back here answering your questions and providing context, clarity, and information on how we all can be involved and get involved and hear what's going on in our state.
Absolutely. I always say music is my love language, so we will just play a song and thank you. You are welcome to log off, and thank you for being here, and we will see you again next week.
Thank you. Thank you.